Hey everyone, Dr. Lewis here. So, welcome to the course. And this is just a quick video to kind of go over navigation for the website and where you should find all of the important information, as well as a little bit about how the course works. So, the first thing that you should see is an announcement section in the top left corner. And this is, right now, it just kind of says welcome. But this is a place that I will occasionally put important information for you to know. You will get a little notification up here when I post a new announcement. I might also email you, depending on the information that I want to give you. And if I email you, then you'll see a notification pop up here. So you'll see a little email pop up. So those are both ways that I use to communicate with you, especially because since it's an online class, I won't be able to see you in a classroom. So that's basically how I communicate. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the calendar. And the calendar basically gives due dates for everything that you need to do in the course. So the due dates, some of them are pretty obvious, like you have a quiz due at a certain time on a certain day. I also have little notifications when you have like readings that are due. So like you should finish this reading by June 5th. And then there'll also be kind of little notifications like respond to 2 classmates' introductions. So pretty much anything that is a reading or an assignment that you have due, I have a little notification pop up on the calendar for you so that you're kind of aware of the content that you should be moving through by a certain date. So, and we'll talk more about due dates in just a minute. So if we scroll back up to the top, I'm going to avoid the content browser for right now just because that's the bulk of what I want to talk about. So if we skip over that for now and go to important links, I have all of the important course documents linked in this little section over here. So there's the course syllabus, which you should be going over as part of the Start Here module. It is also, that's where we have all the important course policies. So if you have any question throughout the semester, like what is the late policy, or how much is this worth, or what is our course theme, everything is right there, as well as kind of contact information for me. And then underneath that, I have the schedule for our 3 units posted, and these will always be right here. So you obviously, right now, you probably don't really want to look at number 2 and 3 because we won't be doing that until later in the course, but they will always be available right here for you to look at if you want to. Some other important links, we have the Purdue OWL MLA formatting guide. So this is our formatting guide for the course. You don't have to buy an extra writer's manual. So it's just the Purdue OWL MLA formatting guide that'll walk you through how to format your papers and how to do citations and works cited pages. So that will always be linked here as well. I also have our class source citation information. And what that is basically I'm giving you the citation information for everything that we will read in the course. So if I give you an article to read, this is where you find the citation information. So everything that we do in the course, you can find the citation information on this list. I also have the assignment sheets for the major assignments. So this is a composition course, so the major assignments are papers. And so I have the analysis paper prompt, which is our first paper and corresponds with Unit 1. Compare and contrast paper prompt, which is our second paper and corresponds with Unit 2. And then finally, the final research paper prompt, which corresponds with Unit 3. And then underneath that, there's a couple of other little links, like there's tech services at KSU, our major paper rubric, the Writing Center. So even though you guys are an online course, you can still use the Writing Center, and they even have online support. So you can even chat with someone online as opposed to having to go in. So I have the links for everything right there. I have a KSU library search box here as well. So we will be doing some research in this class, and this is, we'll talk about the library a little bit more later in the semester, but this is just an easy way to find it. Okay, so now we can actually look at the content browser, and this is where you're going to find everything that you need to do for the course. Right now, you can only see Unit 1. I do open up units roughly a week before you turn in a paper for the previous unit. So Unit 1 runs for about 3 weeks. In about 2 weeks, I will unlock Unit 2. So some people like to work ahead, so that just gives you a little bit of time to work ahead if you would like to. And do keep in mind that this is a summer class, so we're going to be very fast paced. So you do need to kind of keep on it and keep up with the work, just because it is technically a 16-week course. In a normal semester. In a summer semester, we only have 8. So if I click on Unit 1, you will see this pop up, and you can look at a little description here. And then you can also see the 3 modules. And the modules are dated, so it's basically, they run for about a week. So if I click on Module 1, you'll see Module 1 Part 1 and Module 1 Part 2. So each week has a staggered due date. And you will have Module 1 Part 1 will be due by Saturday at 11:59. And then Part 2 will be due at Tuesday by 11:59. So the staggered due date, I do that just so we can kind of schedule and navigate our time a little bit better. It's also for certain assignments, you will have a staggered due date even within one assignment. So if I'm making you do, let's say, group work, then you'll have some initial posts will be due by the Saturday due date, and then by the Tuesday due date, you have to respond to people. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of structure for how to work through the material. So, and then I do like the staggered due date because it also, for people who work, I know that some of you work, it gives you a weekend day to work on both ends of the module. So you could technically do everything for the Part 1 on Saturday before midnight, and then everything for Part 2 on Sunday by midnight, and then not have to do anything throughout the week if you do have a busy week. Obviously, you can budget your time any way you want, though. Like, as long as you pay attention to the due dates, you can work ahead, you can finish everything for the entire week in one day. You can do it in any way you want to budget your time. That's fine. Working ahead is fine. So you'll see here, one of my favorite features about D2L is the checklist feature. So if I click on that, you will actually see it brings up a little checklist that lists off everything that you need to do for this module in order to complete it. So for this one, there's the Start Here module. So you need to do the Start Here modules, basically due by Saturday. And when you're finished with that, you can just be like, I'm done, and then it pops up with your progress. So then by the Part 2 of the module, you have some other work to do, like you have to watch the sustainability lecture. And you can say like, well, I did that. And you can pop up there and see that you've made progress. So I really like the checklist feature. I think it's a really nice feature in D2L. So there's the checklist feature. And then there's also, again, you can see the objectives. And then you can also just go into the actual modules. And like here, you see everything that's due for the Start Here module, which is our first one. And then if you go to Part 2, you see everything that's due by Tuesday, 11:59. So it basically just organizes everything. Like Module 2 lasts for a week. There's a Part 1 and a Part 2. And it just gives you a nice little list of like, all of this is due for Part 1, all of this is due for Part 2. So that's kind of how everything is organized. And you can go to the course home and look at everything through the content browser. You can also go to just content up here at the top. And when you do that, you get like the navigation bar on the side, and you can also see everything listed right here. So it really just depends how you like to navigate it. It gives you a couple of different options for what you feel most comfortable with. Then a couple of other features that I want to talk about. So if you go up to discussions, you will see something called the virtual lounge. This is basically a place where you can ask me questions if you don't want to send me an email. So virtual lounge, you can just go in there, pop in, ask a question, and I will answer and respond. If you scroll down a little bit more, you see our discussion boards. So our first discussion board is just an introduction, and then you can see the rest. Then you can also see the group work when you scroll down a little bit more. So that's kind of, it's linked in the module content as well, but you can also just go to discussions to find any of those assignments. Then you can also see, you can click on assignments, and this is basically the folders where you turn in all of the assignments for the entire semester. So obviously some of these you're not going to worry about until later, but you can always find the submission folder as well as eventually at some point what your grade is and then any feedback. Okay, so one last thing that I want to show you, you can also click on grades. I do keep up with your grades in this class. So you will be able to click on grades and then see all of our assignments, how much they count, like what percentage of your grade is from this assignment. And then eventually you'll be able to see your score for each assignment and then also your overall average. So it's the beginning of the semester now, so right now you can't see anything. But eventually you'll be able to click here and you'll start seeing grades come in and you'll start seeing your average updated. And you'll want to click on there every once in a while just to make sure that everything looks right. Okay, so that is basically all I have for the course for this video. So if you have any questions, let me know. And then, of course, you can always contact me either through the virtual lounge, which is in discussions, or just by going up to your email and shooting me an email. So I look forward to our semester together. And again, if you have any questions, let me know.